Hello to my fellow history fans, history friends, people that just like to learn things. I'm author Eileen Schnabel, author of the Kep Westgard Time Travel to the American Revolution series, and we are on Professor Noggin's question number 4, Hardships of War. And the question was, very little fighting occurred during what season? That's kind of obvious. It's going to be winter. And however, I'm going to show you an interesting story here. So this is from the Smithsonian, the American Revolution. And this is an interesting story that I actually learned because my dad is in Illinois. And I think I did a short video about this earlier, but I want to explain what happens. So in Illinois, it was prior to the French and Indian War, all called New France. And of course, the British win the French and Indian War, which means it's all ceded to Britain. And the people who are there mostly are French speakers and also a lot of Native American tribes. And they have no love lost for the British, in part because when the British come in, unlike the French who trade a lot, the British are changing the trades. They don't tend to mix well with the inhabitants of priorly New France and don't speak the same language, don't have the same religion. So this guy, George Rogers Clark, he says it's 1779, and he thinks, wouldn't be a bad idea to march into Illinois and maybe take over some of these British forts. And he sends the spies ahead, and the spies tell him basically there's not a lot of soldiers. The first one was Kaskaskia in Illinois. There's not a lot of soldiers, and the people there, as I say, have no real love lost for the British. I think it wouldn't be hard to take, the spies report back to him. So George Rogers Clark, he marches to Kaskaskia, and without firing a shot, he's able to take over the fort, in part because he promises the people there he'll protect their property and he will honor their religion. So they're kind of like, okay, take the fort. So meanwhile, his movements in Illinois make the British nervous, especially up in Fort Detroit. You don't really think about the Midwest a whole lot in the Revolutionary War, so I found all this fascinating. Anyway, up in Fort Detroit, British are getting a little nervous, so they send soldiers to a place called Vincennes, Fort Vincennes. So the last part of this is February. So we talked about not much fighting going on in February. And this is George Rogers Clark, and he is leading his men in February. If you've been in Illinois in February, it's crazy. Up often waist deep in the water on rivers that they're crossing to get to Fort Vincennes. And that's a little bit about Illinois history in the Revolutionary War and a little bit about fighting in winter. So anyway, thank you for letting me share, and I will talk to you later.